Today we're going to draw a bee eater. Now here's the reference photo, and I've had a little study of this reference photo, and these are very important things for you to do as well. So the first thing is that he is sitting on an angle. Okay, that's pretty obvious. Now I can see his head being like a little oval, but I can also see that his body, this part from his neck to the bottom of his light blue tail feathers, is around about 3 times the length of his head. So that's important. And then he has his little primary feathers here, and then the tail from here to here is also about the length of his head. So now let's put all these things into action. So first of all, we'll start with his angle. So right through his eye, there we go, slip the ruler and draw the line. That's how he's perched on his branch. Now we can draw an oval, and then we know that his body is about 3 times the width of that, so we can make the first oval a little bit wider, and then make this one a bit smaller and this one a bit smaller still. So that is probably 3 times the width of that, and that's a great start. So he has a beak that comes out like this. And now let's see what we can do with these lines. His beak is very curved at the start, and then it gets straighter, and then it comes in like this, and his eye is approximately here. Now the bottom part of his beak is a bit curved and comes in like this, and then he has his little mask around his face, and now a bit curved at the front of his eye, going around like this, and then like that. He has a little gap there, and then his light blue malar feathers come out like this. These ovals are very handy because, look at this, we can just go down like that and come around, swing over to this one. And on top of his head, where we had our little line here, we can now just go up and then like that and like that. But now we need to follow the angle of his head, which is coming down like this. We can see that the body, my ovals are a little bit big, but all you have to do is then look at the picture itself and see where you're going, and it comes in a little bit and down, and his back protrudes here, so great. And there we have the body. We can see that here at his throat, this could be like a squashed little S shape, so like that. And this one just goes up like that. Right, that's looking pretty good so far. So this center line that we did is actually very classical and really good. So what I can see here is a very interesting line, and if you can see, it's a continuous line that goes like this and like this. Now that's going to help us a lot with, let's start here and come up like this. This is where the shoulder of his wing is, and then it comes out like that. Now the line goes straight down until it does that. At this point here, his little secondary coverts emerge, at this point here, these are his alula feathers. So now we just join them up. Also, this here is like the shape of an ear. Look at that. This is his first, this is the wing on one side, and this is a little bit of highlighted area in there. And then there's the wing on the other side. What else can we see? We can see now that the alula feathers that were here, now we come down like this. We come down to a little bit further than these blue feathers here. So we're going to come down to this point. And then we're going to swing across like this. And now we've come to the feathers end. So really, if that's our line there, I can see that this still comes down a bit. So we actually have measured correctly for the length of his body. I'm going to put in a few of his secondary feathers. And he has a band, dark band on his feathers down here. So we're up to, so now looking at the picture, and if we look at the secondary coverts there and just pull a line across, that's where his foot is. So like this is where his foot is. So here's the back, big thumb, and then there's a branch, and then his body, then the blue part of his body's down here. Then we can see that at the bottom of the blue feathers, right there, this is where the tail starts, or this point of the tail is. But he's still got his primary feathers in here, which we'll just put in. Like that. We know that the tail starts here, but we also know that the length of the tail from here downwards is about the length of his head. So we could say, right there's the finishing line. So there are his tail feathers. Some really important things that we need for our watercolor painting is to know where it's dark and where it's light. So it's a little bit darkish in that corner there. With some of these markings between the layers of feathers, you can get away with not having to paint feathers. And the alula feathers here are a little bit darker, and there's a shadow in there, and there's the bottom of his throat area. Primary feathers at the end here are darker. I can see they're also green here, but we can do that later when we paint it. So shadow under his primary feathers here, and a shadow in there. And now that's a pretty good sketch for our painting to come. I'm now going to trace our rainbow bee eater, not in a drawing type of way, but in a way ready for our watercolors, just to distinguish between where the different colors are going to go. Also making adjustments to little lines that might need some improvement. The way I've traced the bee eater is by making some dotted lines so that when we come on top with the light colours, the yellow and the orange, the pencil underneath isn't going to show too much. And so this is the way to trace, picture if you want to, or draw it if you want to. The choice is yours. Thanks for watching and can't wait to paint it.